So yeah, look at this opponent. 20 freezing, 25 slow. They're slowly getting burnt out even though they have fire resistance. It's just like, what are they going to do, right? So that's what this build really is all about. Locking your opponent down, watching them suffer, enjoying life, 0 damage, dead. We're still at full health, by the way. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Doncaster. It is dreary outside, but sunny inside, so join us in the Forge as we run the Hex/Curse Knight through the Sunforge today. We're going to be combining this build with Blessings, so we're going to be kind of running a Blurst Knight today. Just be aware, I am overdubbing my own footage here, so I'm basically watching myself play back something I did a week or two ago. So I don't entirely remember how this run goes, though I do remember one pivotal moment that was pretty much the unluckiest thing possible that could happen to you while you're running a corrupted build. For the setup, we're going free rerolls on card, talent, and starting weapon, and we're turning on... Are we turning on Weapon Obsession? What do I do? Deciding to run which card packs to run here. All of them. No Weapon Obsession. So no Malignancies this time. That means 4 rerolls at the start. And we're going to be rolling through the cards until we find the Scimitar. So the Scimitar is sort of the default go-to starting weapon for the Hex Knight, because it applies afflictions that you can then increase with your hexes and also apply to your enemy even stronger via Bane. Then the first talent we're looking for is presumably Benevolent, which if you can't think of anything better to do, just take Benevolent. It is such a good starting talent. Then straight away we get lucky here and find the Evil Eye, which is the best hex afflicting card in the game in my opinion. It is no prerequisites, you do not need to be corrupted, you just cast it and you put a hex on your opponent. If you have 2 copies, you can apply all 6 hexes to your opponent, which will eventually just drain them out of the game and kill them. Otherwise, you've picked up Righteousness here, which draws us cards based on our blessings. And I forget the name of this card, but you see it at the bottom right. It's the guy getting like his body cut in half by that blue beam. That applies Bane. And Bane basically increases all of the afflictions you apply to your enemy by 1. And then if you apply your hexes, they will apply more afflictions, but they will also increase the Bane, which will apply more afflictions, and the number of your afflictions will just kind of go up exponentially. So right now what we're doing is we're looking for corrupted actions, because we need at least 4 of them in our deck to count as corrupted to trigger certain corrupted cards. Right now we're just picking up generic cleansing cards. I imagine we'll take this Wave of Light, to cleanse afflictions. Boots of Speed or Steady Strike here are both good choices. Boots of Speed. None of these are that great, but I guess if I had to take one, I'd probably take Arcane Mastery, because we are not going to be channeling anything with Hardened Mind. Yeah. Blessed Weapon here, probably a decent choice, just for some additional sustain, because again with Benevolent, that'll be triggering 3 life. Profanity here, the obvious choice, because that increases afflictions on our opponent. That's what our deck is all about. So, at the beginning, this build can play a little bit slow, because all you're really doing is putting afflictions on your opponent and letting them burn out very, very slowly. We did pick up the Elemental Conflicts talent, which is really, really with the Scimitar, because it applies haste to us whenever we burn an opponent, but also slow to the opponent whenever we freeze them, and Scimitars do both of those things, right? They'll freeze the opponent and burn them, and then we gain haste, they gain slow, so we're playing more cards, they're playing fewer cards. I think the talent is pretty much made for the Scimitar. There are very few other builds that can utilize both ends of that. So first enemy down, you might have seen how many cards we already drew there with Righteousness, because we're also gaining quite a few blessings here, because we're gaining focus from the Surge, we're gaining haste from the Burning, we're gaining other random things, we're getting a bit of anger here or there, I think. And when you cast Righteousness, you draw a card for each of your blessings. So this will just help us draw through our deck repeatedly, and especially if we have tons and tons of haste, you can just keep on churning through your deck and keep on recasting cards. So there we go, this is the Evil Eye. We do not have the energy to cast it right now. Potentially if we just keep on drawing here, we might be able to find it. You see how many cards we're just looking at. Yeah, see we get Rally 2, we have the Regenerate, so that's another 2 blessings that we're drawing off of. So this is like a great combination of playing both like kind of the divine blessing based side of the knight and the curse side of the knight, because the two of them actually have quite a few synergies that might not be totally obvious on the surface. Okay, we apply a hex. So the way the hexes work, with that card at least, is it'll show you 3 random hexes. You pick one of them and apply it to your opponent. I think there's 6 total, so if you have 2 of those, because they each have 3 charges, you can apply all 6 hexes to your opponent. Yeah, so quite easy burn out there. What you're sort of looking to do with this build is you lock the opponent out by applying a ton of frozen to them, so none of their abilities basically do any damage, and then you just burn them out, you bleed them out. If you can somehow even apply Charm, I guess you could stack that with Bane, but more traditionally with hexes, you're probably going to be burning them out. Because you're also applying Bleeding and Vulnerable, your scimitars are also going to do tons of damage, and we also have this, I forget what the name of the card is, but this little golden hammer, Smite, which is piercing damage, so even if an opponent has evasion, vulnerable, armor, barrier, whatever, we can go right through them and hit their bleeding and trigger those stacks and just kill our opponent. So the Hex of Feebleness there, if you saw that one, if you go back there a moment and pause and read it, what it does is every turn it increases all the afflictions on our opponent by 1. And this is super, super good with Bane, because Bane, per stack, it increases how many afflictions are applied to our opponent. But it itself can also be increased, so that increases not only the Bane, but increases all our opponent's stacks. And then with other hexes, this will just stack more and more Burning and Frost. You can already see our opponent is absolutely covered in red afflictions here. So they're already, see, they're doing 0 damage because they have like 48 frozen on them, they got 50 burning, and they're dead. And that's really how easy it is. So what we're probably looking to do here is copy various corrupted actions and hex applying cards just so we can eventually become corrupted. At the moment, I think we only have the 1 card, Profanity, that actually triggers off being corrupted. But there are more in the game that we're hoping to pick up. Another card that is also quite good for this build is if you pick up a Hexglaive. It's kind of one of these special basic attacks that you can find in the game but can't equip at the start. And what it does is it gains life drain if you are corrupted. So this is a really good way of sustaining yourself through the game and also having a secondary damage option next to the burning we're applying to our opponent. So yeah, just look how many cards are drawing with this. We're just kind of cycling through the whole deck. We also have this Aura Memorized, which is this, the little pink dude in our status bar, that whenever we gain a unique blessing, it draws us a card. This basically means every time we play a scimitar and burn the opponent, we gain haste, it draws us a card. Every time we play the Cleanse Affliction card and gain regenerate, it draws us a card, etc., etc. So you see how many of our cards are free here just from the haste. In terms of stacking the hexes on our opponent, the one that's going to kill them is the burning. The one that's really going to drive it home is the one that increases the stacks of affliction 1 by 1 each turn. But if you at first just need to slow your opponent down so they don't kill you in the first few turns, we're going to go for the imbue here. What do we get? Oh, lifelink. That's really good here. But Flurry of Blows actually isn't bad either. I would say lifelink is probably better because I think we just need defenses. As long as we have the hexes, we will eventually kill any opponent. Yeah, there we go. Much better. So yeah, if you have an opponent where you're pretty confident they could kill you at some point in the first 2-3 turns, and you have the option to put the hex on your opponent that increases their frost every turn, do that one first, because if they can't do damage to you, it doesn't really matter what they're doing, right? They just can't kill you. And then you can start stacking the flames later. Probably the ideal way to play it is to always stack the frost first, but if you're pretty confident an opponent isn't going to do much to you, you might as well just go ahead and put the flames on. The other ones like the vulnerable and the bleeding, I think are quite like secondary and tertiary. No need to apply those straight from the start. So yeah, you can see this guy's already got 3 frozen on him. He's not dealing much damage. With our lifelink enchantment, we have quite a bit of barrier too. Yeah, now we can put the flames on him. Vulnerability. Now our basic attacks are also doing a decent amount of damage. Something that's really, really, really worth keeping in mind when you're playing hexes is they cannot be dispelled or removed once they've been applied to the opponent. I think they count as actions or hexes. They have some kind of special status, so they can't be They can't be removed by some kind of, remove enchantment ability. They can't be dispelled. They can't be warded. None of this. Like Dante, when he shows up with his 3 or 4 ward, whatever he has at the start of his turn, does not matter. The hexes just go right through. I'm trying to think of the scariest opponents for this build. I guess it would be the Spirit of Athos, because he can copy afflictions over too. So I guess if you put like 200 burning on him, or just a huge amount, and he just copies it back onto you, you could accidentally end up killing yourself. Though that is like pretty damn unlikely. And obviously once he has that much burning that it would kill you, it would probably also kill him, and he would take the burning damage first anyhow. So yeah, look at this opponent. 20 freezing, 25 slow. They're slowly getting burnt out, even though they have fire resistance. It's just like, what are they going to do, right? So that's what this build was just all about. Locking your opponent down, watching them suffer, enjoying life, 0 damage, dead. We're still at full health, by the way. So, in general with Sunforge stuff, I would always prioritize defensive talents over aggressive ones initially, and then somewhere in between portals 2 and 3 is where you need to start getting... pumping up your damage. There's a lot of good choices here. So Warp Steel would get us a Hexclave. Peace Offering is really good though at stalling the game. Okay, we're taking Warp Steel. So we're going to convert one of our Scimitars into the Hexclave I spoke about earlier. We can see what that does once I do this. So if I play Warp Steel here, and then I play my Scimitar, the Scimitar will be removed, and a Hexclave will now be added to my deck. Next time I draw it, we can have a little look at it. I do not think that we are corrupted yet, so it's not going to trigger its special ability, but it will still do increased damage based on the amount of hexes our opponent has. Now, I recorded this video just before the Eclipse update, so this build actually has gotten... I think this build has actually gotten quite a bit stronger now than it already was. Oh, here's the Hexclave. So you see it deals 6 additional damage per active hex, and when you're corrupted, it life drains. So what the newest updated Eclipse added to the game is Potency, which basically used to only work with poison, but now it works with any affliction. So that's burning, bleeding, charmed, whatever. It just means that for every stack of Potency, that affliction will do 1 more damage. So let's say the opponent has 1 burning, you have 5 affliction, actually does 6 damage, right? Now, if you can find a way to Potency stack on the Hex Knight, I mean, I'm gonna probably say it doesn't really matter, because whether or not you kill them in 2 or 3 turns, Omniscience is the best choice here, because we just need to draw all of our hexes. Battleborn's nice too, but Omniscience is definitely the pick. Do it. Yeah, there we go. Big up on me from a week ago. So... yeah, the Potency will just make all of your afflictions hurt even more. As you can see, it's just... I don't even know if it's worth the card slot, because once the opponent is frozen out, most of them can't do much to you anyhow. So this is normally quite a scary opponent, because they daze you at the start of your turn, and then eventually stun you, but because we have those little wave of... what's it called? Wave of light, wave of cleansing? We can just purge that turn after turn. So that was a bit of an awkward turn. We probably should have played Righteousness to draw there, but instead we ended up with a bunch of Divine Energy without any cards that can actually take it. So here, cleanse the affliction. Cleanse the affliction. Do it. There we go. For a second I thought I was going to forget to do it again. I personally think the worst hex is the one that drains the life, because even if you have all 6 hexes, it's only draining like 6 life, because that doesn't scale with anything. Like 6 life, honestly, once you have 6 hexes on an opponent, it's like they're dead anyhow, and they're not doing any damage to you. So I always do that one last, it's just not worth it. Nice, easy kill on 1 here. So that's Portal 1 down. And we're still at full health, so we can just take another 2 rerolls here. So what I always try to do in the Sunforge is keep my rerolls above 5, because if you get the option to imbue something, and you have at least 5 rerolls, you will be shown the maximum amount of enchantments, which is 6, which is also the limit. So if you have 10 rerolls, you're not being shown 10 or 11, and the maximum is 6. So if you have at least 5 rerolls, you'll always have the best chances to hit a good enchantment off of the imbue. I do usually like to keep 7 to 8 actually though, because there are some builds where there's just a certain talent that kind of makes the builds, you know, pop wide open, and being able to dig with that is really useful. So it's also worth remembering here that this is still being played on a patch where there's a bug in the Sunforge where you couldn't re-roll your card choices. So if I'm ever presented with a card choice and none of them are good, I will still end up picking one that's just mediocre, because you literally can't not. You can't re-roll them here. That being said, I find for the most part, you shouldn't really use your rerolls on cards, because there are so many cards, and just because, like, let's say you have a B or a C tier card for your build that's being offered, it's better to take than to re-roll and get like 3 F tier cards that just have nothing to do with your build. I mean, you can gamble and try and high roll, but I'd rather take something that's like a blue, like a green or blue rarity, and then try and transmute it later than start wasting my re-rolls on it, because you really want the re-rolls for the talents at the end of the day. They are so much more important. Also nowadays, with the free first talent and card selection, you can get your build like 70% of the way, or kind of like nudge it in a direction very strongly, which wasn't something you used to be able to do. So you see how many cards we're drawing here, because I think we have Omniscience, and I think we also took Keen Mind at the start, so it's 4 extra cards a turn. Then we have Righteousness, then we have the Haste. So we could probably set up a loop here where we basically just cycle through our deck multiple times. You might have noticed before that I copied another Corrupted card. I think we're getting pretty close to achieving Corrupted status. You will know when the Profane card's border turns from yellow as it is now to green, so it looks like we're still missing 1 or 2 Corrupted cards. There is this one really good Corrupted card that you can play once, I think it's unique, so you can play it once each combat, but it adds Forbidden Fruit to your deck, which counts as a Corrupted card. So that can often be a good placeholder until you find better Corrupted cards, just to get the corruption status kicking. Also worth noting with Corrupted builds is the Corrupted cards do not have to have been in your deck at the start of the combat. So if the opponent puts corruptions into your deck, that can make you corrupted as well. They do not have to have been in your deck from the get-go. This also has the reverse effect, though, that if an opponent is like removing cards from your deck during combat and they remove enough Corrupted cards so you fall below the threshold, you will lose your Corrupted status. So that can happen for sure. What do we do here? Something we want to transmute, maybe? Could see us re-rolling here. Yeah, adding a card. Blood Magic or Time is Money. Probably Blood Magic. I think as we're drawing through our deck, Blood Magic would be really good for those moments where we kind of get stuck on energy, because this is a build with 3 different kinds of energy, right? We have Red, Blue, and Divine. And as you saw before, there have already been a few moments where we kind of got stuck on just Divine Energy, which is like the least used kind in our deck. And we're only really generating it because of that the Bless Weapon thing. We're not actually using it for anything. But now if we can convert everything to blood, it just doesn't really matter what kind of energy we have. So the Avatar of the Pyre can be a little bit of a tricky fight, because let's say you stack, 2 trillion fire on him. Burning, sorry. First of all, he's got fire protection, I believe, so he halves his burning every turn, which is already quite annoying. But then, because he revives as an egg, just because you kill him with the flames once, doesn't mean that he's actually dead. He'll just come back as an egg, and obviously the burning is not going to trigger twice immediately, so you kind of need to get him low, get the fire to trigger, put him in the egg mode, and then just like beat him down with basic attacks. Or just do this. Just put him into the egg mode and then let the fire take him. That should work as well. Or not. There you go. I honestly would have thought the burning was going to kill him there before he turned, but I guess the sequence that the game looks at these actions internally must be a bit different. Alright, well, let's just do it again. Like, we're at no threat of dying here, really. He's doing 0 damage to us, and eventually we'll just have applied so much bleeding to him that we can kill him with 2 basic attacks. Yeah, there you go. But that fight can drag on a little bit if you don't quite have the right stuff for it. Ooh. So Avatar of Blight is a great one, but we don't actually, as a Hex Knight, poison is one of the few afflictions you never actually produce. Chaos casting is like fine. We don't really have many magic actions. I think we actually only have the affliction cleansing thing. Avatar Thunder's okay, but we don't really critically hit. I guess the chain would help a little bit. Everything else is like totally useless. I don't think the 3 charm from the Heartfelt Sermon's gonna matter at all. But you can see I'm thinking here. I'm really thinking. I would go for the Chaos casting now, if I were me. Oh yeah, there we go. Because even if I don't have a good magic action right now, I might pick one up later, and then it'll be really, really good to have. Viola can be a little bit annoying. She just takes longer than the others. She can't really kill you, but you see how she's holding those 3 defensive actions, the 3 green shields? Each one of those is going to cleanse an affliction on her, and if she keeps on cleansing your burning and your bane over and over, you just need to keep on reapplying them. And it just takes a while. Yeah, so we just lost the burning there. What is good about it, though, about this fight, is usually you have to get through Viola's Charmed before you really start doing any kind of serious work on her. But because the burning is applied past any kind of protection, you can just start attacking her life total directly. Yeah, we also have that piercing attack. So let's see what she cleanses. Well, she didn't cleanse the burning, that's good. Yeah, put the frozen on just so we stop taking damage. Oh, that's so beautiful. You just get to redraw your entire hand there with Righteousness. Yeah, I think she's pretty screwed now. She's lost her Charmed, so we can just start hitting her with the basics too. Beautiful. Next wave. Boom. Once again, we come out of that combat with full health. So, once you have your rerolls at like 6 or 7, just to be safe for the imbues, you can just start stacking maximum health. I'm gonna be honest, if you start having to use the recover, your run is already like over. The recover choice is such cope. Like, I've maybe had like a tiny handful of runs where I've taken the recover and still somehow been able to wangle my way through the whole run. But usually when you're at that point, you just have no sustain. You're going health negative fight after fight, and you will just eventually die. Like, it's just not worth it. If you're at that point, you're just dead. You're basically always trying to exit every fight with pretty much the same amount of health as you went into it, or just more. Because, especially with the Hex Knight, you do need 1 or 2 turns just to set up your defenses. And if you go into a combat with low health, there are some opponents that have like First Strike, who will just come in and just like knock the absolute crap out of you before you can start freezing them, and then it's just over. Copy another corrupted card. 1, 2, 3. That should be 4. Yeah, so that's 4 because we have Blood Magic and we have the 3 Dark Blessings. Now, you know how I said before that you can lose corruption? The problem is with Blood Magic is that it is a 1-charge ability. So even though my Hexclave, if you go back there and check that out again, when I drew the Hexclave, it had a green outlining because it was corrupted. I cast the Blood Magic, and the outline went from green to yellow instantly because yeah, there you go. I think when I was doing this run initially, I only just noticed that there. So you can lose Corrupted during a fight. This isn't like a code where once it's applied at the start of combat, you can start, violating the code's conditions. you will lose Corrupted if you lose the Corrupted actions in your deck. Or alternatively, you will gain it again. As you can see there, the opponent just put a temporary Conjured Corruption card into our deck. So right now we have like quote unquote 4 in our deck. But after this turn, we're going to lose it again. Yeah, so you see how Profanity is green? That's because the Octopus put this Wrath card in our deck. But now once we pass, that will dissolve and we will be uncorrupted once again. So now we're uncorrupted. But if they put another one into our deck, which they didn't, we would have been corrupted again. So the Hexclave should have a yellow outline. Yeah, yellow outline. So right now we're just trying to get to max health before we kill the opponent. If you can stall the game for a turn or two and just stock up on health before the next round, that's the way to go. So Battleborn, good choice here. This gives us that secondary win condition if our hexes aren't doing it for us. So you can see I'm kind of scared to play the Blood Magic now because I don't want to lose the Corrupted status. So what this actually means is I need one more Corrupted card in the deck to actually persistently keep the corruption going. So it's very temperamental corruption, let's put it that way. Statue of Ilthar can take a while too, because between every turn he swaps on 2 forms of immunity. I think the red one, which you can see at the top right, there's a red and a yellow one of his silhouette. The red one is melee, and the yellow one is divine. But the hexes, the afflictions, they trigger nonetheless, so, you know, whatever. Yeah. It's already got tons of frozen, he's not doing much damage. We can cleanse his dazing with the Wave of Light. By the way, that Chaos casting that we got imbued earlier, that is copying the Wave of Light. Yeah, there you go. I think that's where I kind of just tweaked it when I was originally doing the run. Nice. That's Portal 2 down. We're already halfway through this, and the build is already pretty much there. I think what we just need now is a more permanent Corrupted card in the deck to make sure we're always corrupted rather than like having to ignore the fact we have this really, really good Blood Magic card. And we have to gain a bunch of maximum health as well. I think that's quite important here. Yeah, I think between those two things, we should definitely be able to pick them up in the next few portals. If you hit the boots here, I can still play Righteousness and probably just keep on going. Looks like I'm having a little bit of a brain fart. You can do it. I was probably just admiring the Wandering Slime sitting at an even life total. Yeah. Damn. Okay, so we kind of did the thing you're not supposed to do there, which is leave the Wandering Slime at an even life total, because then he'll double his health. I wonder if we can just make the Frozen outgrow how much damage he does based off his health scaling. Not that it seems to matter. We can just kill him with the Hexclave here, can't we? Boom. See how that also gained his 86 health now? That's so sick. Probably just upgrade cards here. It's definitely worth upgrading your basics often. Oh, let's say just... Oh, there we go. Yeah, get the last corrupted action in so we can actually play Blood Magic. It's sometimes worth upgrading your basic attacks even if you're not really like a basic attack damage oriented build, because if they have stuff like on hit effects, you still need them to do enough damage to get through. So for instance, this opponent has armor, so our scimitars and stuff are too lowly to get through that and actually do anything. And so they also won't apply on hit effects. It also just means that we'll be triggering Battleborn more often. You might have gathered from watching one of my other Sunforge runs that at the end of the day, if you're in red energy, just taking Battleborn whenever it's offered will probably get you pretty damn far. I mean, it just means that every single time you do damage, you gain anger, you do more damage. Yeah, pump that maximum health. That's what we're going for here. Serena, okay, mildly annoying. That being said, she might accidentally dispel her own the dominated. Not that it really seems to matter here. So yeah, we don't really have any way of cleansing the dominated preemptively, so it looks like we're just gonna have to take that for now. Let's put Hexaflame, she'll eventually die. Yeah, that's the right play there. Yeah, we can cleanse her burning, we can cleanse her charmed, like, she's just delaying the inevitable for herself. I was about to say, the only thing that's kind of annoying about her is she can steal your blessings, and I have definitely died to Serena before where I've stacked a ton of anger, she's stolen it, and then just killed me with it. Feels pretty bad, but I think even if she stole our 20 whatever anger here, she wouldn't be able to one-shot us. Could copy another card here. Could upgrade now. Yeah, we'll make our Hexglaive, our Smaya Scimitar. I'll do a little bit more damage. Oh, 1 again. Okay. Well, this was an easy one before because we can cleanse. Just don't forget to cleanse. No, so, okay, so I made a mistake there. So if your Dazed is at 1, and you play a card that cleanses an affliction, it will trigger the Dazed and then cleanse, but then there will be nothing left to cleanse because you'll already be stunned, and stunned isn't an affliction, it's like, I don't know how the devs word it, but it's like a status, so you can't cleanse that anymore. So what I would have had to do there is cleanse as my first or second play of the turn, not my third. So that was a misplay on my end. But here, okay, just play the Wave of Light. Oh my god, am I actually getting okay? I thought I was gonna misplay it twice in a row there. Let's play the Hexglaive. Spank him. Or that. Yeah, so we only have 1 Dazed here. There's not much we can do. We might as well just apply a Hex and pass. Nice. Full heal on the way out. Random talent. Okay, so what just happened there? I just randomly gained the Purity talent, which is normally one of the best talents in the game, but it has this line of text at the start that says remove all corruptions in your deck. Now, obviously, I've been running a corrupted Hex Knight, so I've just lost every single corrupted card in my deck, which means the Blood Magic, and which means all of those cards that was applying random afflictions to our opponent. So we are now very, 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 very much not corrupted anymore. And we now have to rebuild our deck to make things like Hexglaive trigger once again and Profanity. So we're kind of back at 0 here. So this is sort of this is like a classic Doncaster thing. I think this happens to everyone who plays this game. They take a card that cleanses all the corruptions in their deck while they're playing corrupted build, or they make their deck corrupted while they're playing a divine build and lose all their divine cards. So one of the other extremes. I guess now we're just kind of playing the Blurst Knight. You know, we got our blessings, we got our curses, we're a little bit of everything. The hexes work nonetheless, so you can see our opponent still really struggling to do anything here. But we have lost the random afflictions that we were applying because we were occasionally getting like Delirious, poison, weakness and stuff in there. But we now can't do that anymore, and obviously our Hexglaive isn't draining for life anymore. Which right now is not a big problem, but it's definitely a bit sad. Yeah, pretty awkward. Yeah, there's me looking at that Purity again, just like... Any other run, I would be over the moon that I got Purity for free, because like Omniscience, Battleborn, Purity, that trio just is so good, because you're drawing cards, you're doing more damage, and your opponent can't really ruin your day. Good stuff. So Gorn is usually a timed fight in Gorn's favor, but I believe this time it's a timed fight in our favor. Our favor. If we can just get some hexes on him and just pass the turn, he'll eventually die. That being said, the way Gorn kind of keeps you under pressure is he freezes you after you play your 6th action of the turn. But we can cleanse afflictions, so we can just undo the freezing as we did here and just kind of keep on going. And he really can't do much about that. So the one thing we don't have in this build is something that cleanses an opponent's blessings, I believe. So we can't remove Barrier, we can't remove his Regenerate, we can't remove Dante's Ward. Which, while it will not block hexes, it will block the afflictions applied by them. Just cast, yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so we're already burning him for exactly how much he's regenerating for right now. But we've also slowed him, so he's only able to play like 1 card a turn. And our basics are just doing the rest, aren't they? Yeah, so we can just cleanse, remove the frozen, and just keep on churning. Yeah, whatever. Play another hex, drain him, whatever. He is not dead this turn, but the one after. Now just any old basic will do. Stroke of Misery, Scimitar, whatever. Yeah, there we go. So what do we do here? Could re-roll and try and find a new corrupted card to start copying. Could copy something. What would we copy? Add a card, find something corrupted. Another Warp Steel. We could convert our last Scimitar into Hexglaive, but that's not very good right now. The Scimitar is actually good to have because it's applying Frozen and Burning. I can't really say that any of those picks there were amazing. So, Crypt Broodmother, another like classic run ender of a boss. In this case, she isn't really that scary because the defenses she usually gets from her little spiderlings, they do not protect her from burning and stuff like that. So you see how she's absolutely dunking these broodlings into our deck. Just ignore it. Just keep on drawing through your deck. Cleanse the poison she applies. Just keep on healing, you know. Stay calm, carry on. Just apply burning. The one thing here is, though, that your frozen will not reduce the damage of the broodlings. That is kind of a static that is attached to you via this ability that she plays, and then ultimately to the cards that are in your deck. So it's not her doing the damage. Yeah, I would actually go for the bleeding here. Just in case we do manage to get through her spiderlings. If she's already like... Because the Crypt Broodmother, she heals herself by a lot, but if we can get the bleeding up to like hundreds and somehow we haven't killed her otherwise, just getting one attack through would kill her in one hit, because the Smite should pierce. That being said, I don't actually know if Smite pierces through her egg ability. I wonder if I try it here. I must, right? Oh, no, okay, it does go through. So yeah, as long as we can apply a decent amount of bleeding to her, if for some reason the flaming doesn't work, we can just pierce through her defenses and kill her with the bleeding stacks. Yeah, she's about to gain a ton of life in her next turn because she has all those green shield things lined up. Okay, we're actually taking a scary amount of damage from these spiders now, but you know, just keep cool. Keep cool. There's a lot of them in our deck. Jesus. I mean, she's got spiders for days. We've got afflictions for days, so... We're going low, but we're not going that low. Okay, scary pass. We get 10 spiderlings put in our deck. She goes up a ton of health again. But if we can just survive this, we've got her. Because we can just pierce through, and that'll deal 126 bleeding plus whatever, and then she should just burn out on her turn. Even if she heals herself. Okay, we got pretty close there to dying. Nice. Yeah, now we can just throw whatever. So playing Righteousness here is actually really scary. Because, okay, there's only one Spider Broodling left in the deck, so we can do it. Yeah, if there had still been like 5 or 6 of them in there, we would have just died. Oh, cool. Yeah, we just pierced through again. We didn't even get to pass back. Yes, that's pretty scary. We left with 25 life left. Fire Immunity or Redemption are both pretty good here. I think I took Redemption because I only had 25 health, and Dante can just kind of one-shot you before you get your hexes rolling. So this is just my insurance policy. Hoping I don't have to trigger it, but it's better than Fire Immunity. We already have the Cleanse thing and Purity, so we're already going to be getting rid of a lot of debuffs. So pay close attention to Dante's ward, yeah. It's really hard to get anything to stick on him while he has that. That once you apply an affliction to him, it will stay. The wards don't retroactively remove anything, they just prevent new applications. Yeah, so we haven't been able to apply anything so far. That Scimitar will get some cold and slow going. So Dante's percentage missing health attack isn't doing much here because he's obviously still pretty much got full health. See, we're really struggling at these afflictions on him. And to some degree, we don't actually want to do too much damage to him before we have frozen on him. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Yes, okay. Redemption coming in clutch. Saving the day there. Heck yeah. That was an S tier choice. Very proud of myself from last week. I think a few months ago, I probably wouldn't have taken it. I would have taken the Fire Immunity, because I always kind of see, whenever I see Redemption, I'm like, well, if you're going to die once, you're probably going to die twice. But I think this is exactly the kind of build that just can use that extra time. Because you can see here, now Dante's got 19, 37 frozen on him. And he's just not doing any damage to us anymore. So that Redemption was literally the difference between having that one extra turn to break him down. And now it's really just a waiting game. Okay, 58 frozen. He can't do anything here. I mean, he's still at 13 damage to us. You see how much damage that ability usually does. That's pretty insane. So Dante's an interesting fight in the sense that he's kind of one of these bosses that's actually quite respectful of what you're doing. You know, he's not a controlling boss. Like, if you get blessings or put afflictions on him, he won't cleanse them. He doesn't like remove cards from your deck. He doesn't do any of that. He doesn't jinx you either. He just has a lot of health and punishes you for stacking artifacts and enchantments, so kind of coming preloaded. But he's not like some of these fights like Serena where he's just stealing your blessings and just like really punishing a certain playstyle. He's kind of just generally a bit of a stat check. If you can out heal him and out damage him, you will win. And you don't need to be scared about losing your blessings or anything like that. You can just stack them. Ancient Colossus is also a little bit scary because it does more and more damage based on the amount of armor he has, and he gets more armor the lower he is. So he's actually kind of similar to Dante in that way, that the lower he is, the more damage he does. So you really want to get them frozen on there for sure. We still have not managed to reactivate the corrupted status, by the way. This is pretty sad. Nice. Upgrade the cards here. Could also copy a Stroke Misery. Don't even know what I'm looking for here. Oh, I guess I was looking for another corrupted card. You know, I would just take Invocation here. I don't think it's very good, but you can transmute it, and you might get something good out of that because it's like a blue rarity divine card, so you could get, I don't know, maybe something that helps you ascend, and maybe we could finally do something with all that golden energy. This Unite card is also not really doing anything here. I mean, the 4 rally it's giving is sort of pathetic. I would say what we should have done that last turn now in retrospect is just copy the Stroke of Misery so we have another card that applies Bane, because the more Bane you have, the quicker everything stacks. Especially when you're going up against the Spine, you sort of have a limited amount of turns before you just eventually get... you just succumb to like the Doom stacking. Having only one source of Bane, I think it's a little bit weak sauce. This fight also takes quite a long time because they keep on swapping back and forth between their forms. But there we go. Got them at a weak moment. That vulnerability and the bleeding really does help, especially at this point where if you just let the burning do it, it might take 2 or 3 extra turns and it just kind of speeds you on through it. Balseir Hildoon. So she is usually really, really good against builds that are very dependent on dealing direct damage because she will stack Frozen, and if you can't really spam a ton of abilities, then you won't be able to get the Frozen gone, because unlike a normal fight, the Frozen does not fade at the end of turn. So yeah, that's a lot of golden energy that we have no outlet for. It's like a divine build with no divine cards, basically. Very blurst. Purity cleansing the Jinx there is quite nice. Not that we don't have enough cards to just throw into it to get countered, but... I think in the long run, having the Purity probably is better than being corrupted in this deck. It's just still kind of funny. I mean, you're seeing the power of this deck, right? Like, I spent all that effort. I must have spent like 4 or 5 card selections just taking corrupted cards. I lost it all, and it just doesn't matter. I'm still leaving every fight at full health. I'm popping off. So transmuting here, this would be a good chance to transmute that Invocation. Yeah, that's what I do. Peace Offering. Yeah. So Peace Offering, basically what it does is it means you cast it and you and your opponent can't cast any like melee or ranged attacks for 1 turn. So you kind of want to play it just to stall, and considering this is a build that's all about just stalling the game out, it's really, really good. So I shouldn't play it here because the opponent just has abilities and healing abilities which they can still play. It just stops attacks like ranged, melee, magic, the red cards basically. Watch out with Boulder Back when he applies the Reflect. You don't want to swing in like a 200 damage Hexclave into his Reflect and accidentally just off yourself. So this would be a good spot to play Peace Offering. Yeah, so you can only cast his green card now. He just has to pass, yeah. So we probably just avoided a decent amount of damage there. So we did not have any Frozen applied to Boulder Back yet, so we would have taken whatever the full brunt is of his attacks. By the way, if you ever see the Surge Stone in the Sunforge, which I think is kind of a pretty mid card. Oh wait, what do we get here? Poison Coating. I mean, Thaumaturgy would be good if we were still corrupted and we had more magic actions, but Poison Coating just finally gives us a reliable source to apply poison to our opponents. So imagine if we'd taken, what was it called? Avatar of Poison earlier. That would have been pretty funny. But that being said, we can't really... I don't know, every time you apply poison, you generate green energy, right? And then we could just spend that on things. Yeah, so... like 20 bosses later, that would have finally paid off. It's quite funny. Melkor the Curse is all about curses himself, but he's the one suffering with all the afflictions now. Melkor is can be quite a devastating fight though, because if you have 5 or more afflictions when he does one of his attacks on you, he will put a permanent corruption into your deck. Now with some builds this isn't that bad, because if you transmute it you can just turn it into Sanguine Scryings, like on the Warrior, or even in this build that would be really, really good. However, there are some builds that are a little bit more sensitive to paying health and taking that bleeding that Sanguine Scrying does in exchange for cards. So getting that corruption isn't that great. But if I'm playing a Warrior, I would actually probably voluntarily take 1 or 2 corruptions from Melkor just to transmute them later. Sanguine Scrying is so busted on a Warrior. Again, observe, leaving every single battle with full health. We're getting pretty damn close to the spine now. You can kind of see now that we've got all these pieces together, the build is sort of just playing itself. The thing with the spine is just lasting long enough that all your afflictions can tear them down. So if we gotten super, super lucky, we could have found the Supernova enchantment, which instantly slays an opponent once you've stacked a total of 100 or more burning on them. For you actually accounts for both you and your opponent, which would mean we would kill most opponents by like quite a bit quicker than we are already doing now, because rather than having to get through whatever 700 life we're dealing with here, the Supernova would just shortcut us. It's really such a good card. It's kind of funny because I feel like Supernova is one of the very few cards in the game that seems to, in my opinion, explicitly only exist to cheese. Because it kind of sucks against enemies with small health pools, because rather than just burning them dead, it keeps on removing the burning to stack itself. So it actually takes longer to kill sort of, normal generic opponents, but once you get to the big tough guys like Venus Mantrap or the Spine, it becomes one of the most busted, easiest way to kill them. Yeah, interesting card. Also be played defensively because it removes burning from you as well. Yeah, there we go. See, now we start copying the, whatever that card is called. Stroke of Misery? Is that it? Yeah, there it is. Just for the additional Bane. Probably help quite a bit with the Spine. Put the Frozen on there to deactivate his damage. We can just Peace Offering him here. Then he'll only be able to cast his, I think it's his Dazed ability. Yeah, but as long as I was about to say, all we need to do is cleanse it with the Wave of Regeneration, or Rejuvenation. What's it called? Wave of Light? But Purity got it for us anyhow. Speeding up his demise with a few attacks to the face there. So we got 128 poison on him now. That's from the that poison enchantment we took. Okay, so we can have one last thing we can pick here. What am I looking for? I would probably just take Fire Immunity. Endless Arsenal. It's not bad. Free Scimitar. Fire Immunity or Redemption. We don't have any enchantments. I think that the Spine can randomly imbue fire on you, and the thing is, like, the two things we're actually trying to cleanse from the Spine are the Doomed and the Jinxed. And the fewer afflictions we have on ourselves, the higher chance we have the Purity is gonna cleanse the one that we want it to. So if you're fire immune and you're already not getting burnt, then Purity has like slightly higher chance to hit the really, really troublesome afflictions. So one thing that's going to happen to us fighting the Spine is every time you draw through your deck, the Spine puts this debuff on you that converts the next card you play into a curse. And this thing that I mentioned earlier is going to kick in again, where it does not matter if the curses were in your deck from the start or if you added them later. All that matters is that they're in your deck when you cast the corrupted cards. So these curses, which are corrupted actions, will eventually, or corrupted cards, will eventually make us cursed again. And then we'll be back to being truly blurst. Yeah, being fully cursed and corrupted and having purity, that's actually like a little bit of an achievement, you know? With the new update, if you got... Trying to think how many kind of contradictory things you could get running here, right? You could get the new Demon Ascended form, you get like the Divine Ascended form, you could have Purity, and you could have Corruption. I'd love to see someone do a build where they somehow get all of those things to work together. So yeah, here, you see how the Hexclave and Profanity are both green again? Yeah, I think it just clicked in my head. It's because we have corrupted actions. So the opponent's already at 267 burning and 29 Bane. So we're just stacking Bane, stacking Bane. Jinx, no need to play that. 414 burning. And dealing 0 damage back. So the smartest thing to do here is whenever you draw through your deck, your next card is going to get converted into a corrupted card, is if you are conjuring cards at the start of your turn, like I am conjuring the Wave of Light from the Chaos casting, play that because it will convert the conjured card into the corrupted action and you won't permanently lose a card in your deck. You'll still gain the corrupted action, but 8 Jinxes, not really much you can do here. Yeah, just pass. You'll still gain the corrupted card into your deck, but it'll only be removing a conjured card, which doesn't matter because it won't go into your deck anyhow. So yeah, Spine down to third of its health, 726 burning. We're feeling pretty good here. There you go. All we really need to do is pass here. The opponent has put 10 Jinxed on us anyhow, so there's not really much we can do. But just hit him once, trigger the bleeding. More than dead. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that run, and you saw the power of the Hex Knight combined with Blessings. Once again, the Blurse Knight, going both corrupted, going back to being completely pure, going back to being corrupted again, combining every possible playstyle, and I would really like to see this build played with the newest update, with the potency added, and with the new corrupted cards as well. So I really hope this has helped you guys kind of visualize and see another really strong build to run through the Sunforge with, and can't wait to hear from you guys how it goes for you. Good luck out there fighting Dante and the Spine, and have a nice day.